Hey guys, Bottom25 here, watching one of Soyuz MS-14. Yeah, this isn't a crewed,
You see the
although the first
retraction of that
umbilical.
first umbilical?
This isn't a manned, there's no crew on board. This is just a test of the Soyuz, basically, Soyuz MS.
T-minus 22 seconds and counting.
The Soyuz MS on top of a Soyuz 2.1A.
The second umbilical has now retracted. This initiates engine sequence start. We have engine ignition.
Different camera angles, because this isn't from pad 1, get start.
Turbo pumps up to flight speed and liftoff. Liftoff of the unpiloted Soyuz MS-14 spacecraft on a test flight to pave the way for future crew launches to the International Space Station.
Now, the main reason this is unmanned is because
Soyuz spacecraft now arcing out to the northeast, heading for an orbit 51.6 degrees inclined to the International Space Station for a rendezvous and docking early Saturday morning. First stage engines performing nominally according to the blockhouse in Baikonur. "44 seconds into the flight. Good roll, pitch, and yaw program. "50 seconds into the flight, everything proceeding nominally."
Basically, the whole reason they are launching this one uncrewed is because they
yaw, pitch, and roll all reported to be nominal.
Is because the abort system used on the Soyuz MS, the old one, like for the Soyuz FG, would potentially get triggered
reports from the blockhouse
during
in
a normal
Baikonur.
launch.
First stage engines performing as advertised.
No, the 2.1A, because the 2.1A, like after takeoff, rotates the launch azimuth, whereas the older Soyuzes would need to be like physically turned on the launch pad.
Beautiful view of the Soyuz MS-14 atop the 2.1A booster, initiating this test flight. One minute 50 seconds into the flight. Standing by for first stage shutdown. We have staging, and there's a view inside the descent module of the Soyuz MS-14 of the humanoid robot Fyodor.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The flag of Russia grasped in his right hand.
But no one holds a flag like that.
Two and a half minutes into the flight, everything proceeding normally.
And this is also intended to test the fairings deployed. This is the camera on the outside of the Soyuz.
We have jettison of the launch shroud. This view now from the upper stage camera, looking back down the longitude of the Soyuz 2.1A booster, approaching the 3-minute mark into the flight, everything proceeding normally. The Soyuz traveling 5,600 miles an hour, 58 miles in altitude, 100 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, heading right down the pike. Second stage engines firing normally, everything looking good. Three and a half minutes into the flight, engines are up and running off of the second stage, looking good.
This is also intended to test
good vehicle stabilization reported from the blockhouse in Baikonur.
It's this cargo version of the Soyuz, and I know some of you will be saying that that's just a progress.
5 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Partially, yes, but this version will be able to bring supplies back from the ISS, which currently only the SpaceX Dragon can do.
The vehicle reported to be rock steady and stable. 4 minutes 15 seconds into the flight. Second stage performance is by the book so far, according to the blockhouse in Baikonur. The guidance, navigation, and control system, the performance of the engines, all being evaluated by Russian space officials in this test flight to set the stage for the launch of future crews on this 2.1A booster beginning next March.
Which also means we might very soon see the last Soyuz launch from Gagarin start. That's stage
We have
separation.
second stage shutdown.
Remember, this Soyuz uses a hot staging procedure.
Third stage up and running. We have third stage lower skirt jettisoning.
And for a brief second, loss of camera. That's fine.
Third stage up and running. 3.5 minutes of powered flight remaining on this third stage of the 2.1A booster. Again, this booster has been used since 2015 to launch unpiloted Progress resupply vehicles. This, the first flight of a Soyuz vehicle, a manned vehicle. However, no crew on board today. Now seeing animation based on real-time telemetry coming in from the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow. And back to the live view from an external upper stage camera looking back down the Soyuz 2.1A booster. 6 minutes 20 seconds into the flight. 2.5 minutes of powered flight remaining. The Soyuz traveling at 12,000 miles an hour, 120 miles in altitude, 587 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The vehicle reported to be very stable, good engine performance, everything looking good. 7 minutes into the flight, 1 minute 45 seconds of powered flight remaining.
They are going for a longer rendezvous this time. Like, they're not doing the usual 6-orbit rendezvous. Instead they're doing a 34, 36, something like that, orbit rendezvous. This is only the second Soyuz pilot getting these views.
7 minutes 35 seconds into the flight. So far so good. About 1 minute of powered flight remaining. After third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation, we should be seeing the deployment of the Soyuz MS-14's solar arrays and navigational antennas within seconds thereafter. And the Soyuz will be en route to the International Space Station for a rendezvous and docking in the wee hours Saturday morning. 8 minutes 20 seconds into the flight, about 25 seconds of powered flight remaining.
Like I said, only second launch with cameras, some issues are to be expected. The vehicle is performing nominally. There we go, cut off.
Standing by, and we have third stage shutdown and third stage separation.
They open the valve in the oxygen tank, and that's what's venting there. See, some of the antennas have already deployed. Now we're in for solar panel deploy. There it is.
And there go the
really
solar
quick on
arrays.
Soyuz. You'll see they're kind of flopping a bit. That shows you how quickly they were deployed.
And the solar arrays and navigational antennas have all deployed as planned, a flawless climb to orbit for Soyuz MS-14 in its test flight, the first launch of a Soyuz vehicle on the 2.18 booster. Back inside the descent module, this is Skybot, or Fyodor as it is affectionately known. He made it to orbit and is en route to the International Space Station, where he will be brought inside the Poisk module next week for 5 days of testing and experiments by Alexander Skvortsov and Alexei Ovchinin before being returned to the center seat, the Soyuz commander seat, if you will, in the descent module of the Soyuz spacecraft. And you can see the commanding as it moves its head upward. The toy that is dangling above Fyodor is a cosmonaut toy, basically a zero-G indicator. Now that the Soyuz is heading towards the International Space Station, there are commands being sent to this Skybot from Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov.
Since the launch of Soyuz MS-14 on 1995. Goodbye.